001. Everyone thought it was just a dog bite. Just another workplace accident on a tightly run network procedural. But what started as 15 stitches turned into something that would expose the dark underbelly of one of television's most beloved shows for 15 years. Polly Perret was the heart of NCIS, the pigtailed forensic scientist with a gothic style and infectious energy. 029 fans adored her. Critics praised her, and then without warning, she walked away from it all. But Perret wasn't the only one. The creator of the show was forced out. A beloved co-star left under mysterious circumstances. Another actress was fired because executives simply didn't like her. 050. The pattern is undeniable, and it all leads back to one man. What you're about to discover will change how you see one of TV's longest-run dramas forever. The year was 2016, and NCIS was cruising. Season 14 was underway. Ratings were solid, and the show had become a cultural institution. Mark Harmon had been playing Special Agent Gibbs since 2003, 118, and by now, he wasn't just the star. He was an executive producer. He had creative control. He had authority that extended far beyond his character's basement workshop. And he had a dog he brought to set regularly, which wasn't exactly standard practice for a network television production. But when you're Mark Harmon, rules tend to bend a little differently. 140, then came the incident that changed everything. Harmon's dog attacked a crew member, not a minor nip or scratch, but a serious bite that sent someone to the hospital and required 15 stitches. 15, let that sink in. This wasn't a playful accident. This was a significant injury that happened in what was supposed to be a safe workplace. 205 now. Here's where things get interesting. After an incident like that, most people would apologize profusely, keep their dog at home, and maybe send a fruit basket to the injured party. That's what a normal person would do. That's what someone without power might be forced to do. 224. But Harmon, he kept bringing the dog back to set. Imagine being a crew member on that show. You've just watched a colleague get seriously injured by the star's pet. You're trying to do your job, focused on lighting or sound or whatever your role is. And now there's this animal wandering around that, has already hurt someone. But what are you going to do? Complain to who? The star who owns the dog is also your boss. 250, he's an executive producer. He has the power to influence your employment, your future projects, your entire career. This is where Polly Perret enters the story. Unlike many others on that set, Perret wasn't afraid to speak up. She confronted Harmon directly about the safety issue. She made her concerns known. 314, and when that didn't work, she escalated the matter to CBS management itself. Think about the courage that took. Harmon wasn't just her co-star. He was the face of the franchise, the person who could make or break careers with a single conversation. The man who had enough influence to shape the show's creative direction, casting decisions, and production choices. 338 going against him wasn't just professionally risky, it was potentially career-ending. But Perret pushed forward anyway. She argued that the safety of everyone on set was being compromised, that crew members were that bringing an animal that had already attacked someone back into the workplace was unacceptable. 358 and eventually CBS sided with her. The dog was banned from the set. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Problem solved. Everyone moves on back to making television. But that's not what happened. Not even close. Because what followed wasn't reconciliation. It was something that had never been seen before in the history of the show and rarely seen in television production at all. 427, the two stars stopped filming together entirely. And that's when things got really messy. Here's something that will blow your mind. For the final seasons of Polly Perret's time on NCIS, she and Mark Harmon never shared the same set. They filmed on completely separate days, and yet, if you were watching at home, you'd never know it. You'd see Gibbs walk into Abby's lab, 451, you'd see them interact, joke around, share those touching moments that made their on-screen relationship so beloved. The show's editors worked magic to maintain the illusion. They used creative camera angles, carefully timed shots, and probably a few body doubles. The audience saw Gibbs and Abby together, 515. The reality was that Harmon and Perret were never in the same room. Think about what that means for a production. NCIS films dozens of episodes a season. The schedule's already grueling with long days and tight deadlines. Now imagine having to essentially film everything twice. Harmon does his scenes on Monday. Perret does hers on Tuesday. 537, the script has to be written. Knowing these two characters can never truly interact, every conversation, every moment of connection that fans loved had to be manufactured in post-production. This wasn't just inconvenient, it was unprecedented. Co-stars have feuds all the time in Hollywood. There are plenty of stories about actors who couldn't stand each other but still showed up, did their jobs, and maintained professionalism on camera. That's what professionals do. 609, they separate personal feelings from the work. But this was different. This was a complete breakdown of the working relationship. Two people who played characters with one of the show's most cherished bonds couldn't even be in the same space. The rift was so severe, so absolute, that the entire production had to reorganize itself around their separation. 635, and it wasn't just about scheduling, it was about what that separation represented. For years, NCIS had marketed itself as a family. The cast did interviews talking about their close relationships, their chemistry, how they were like a real team. That image was part of the brand, part of what made fans love the show so much, but behind the scenes, that family was fractured. 702 crew members had to navigate the tension carefully, making sure they never accidentally put the two stars in a situation where they might cross paths. Other cast members had to film scenes separately with each of them, essentially doing double duty. The whole production became a carefully choreographed dance to avoid a confrontation. 724. This went on for seasons, not weeks, not months, seasons, multiple years of this exhausting arrangement, all while maintaining the facade for the public that everything was fine. Gibbs and Abby were still the beloved duo. Harmon and Perret were still the professional colleagues. Nothing to see here, folks. Just another day on America's favorite naval crime drama, 747, but Perret was reaching her breaking point, and when she finally decided she'd had enough, the world was about to learn just how bad things had really gotten. When Polly Perret left NCIS in 2018 after 15 seasons, the initial statements were what you'd expect: gratitude for the opportunity, appreciation for the fans. The standard Hollywood goodbye that doesn't actually say anything. 8/17. CBS put out their own statement, carefully worded, emphasizing that they'd worked with Pare to address her workplace concerns and maintain a safe environment. Everything seemed amicable or at least professionally cordial. Pare moved on to a new sitcom called Broke. Harmon continued leading NCIS. The show kept churning out episodes. 840K's closed, right? Then came the tweets. In 2019, fans started asking Pare if she'd ever consider returning to NCIS for a guest appearance. Maybe a special episode, a reunion, something to give AB's story proper closure. Her response wasn't just a polite no. It was a door slammed shut with such force that it echoed across social media. 9/07. She said she would never come back, ever. She told people to stop asking, and then came the bombshell. She stated that she was terrified of Harmon and him attacking her, that she had nightmares about it, nightmares about returning to work, about being near her former co-star. Let that sink in for a moment. 9/28. This wasn't about creative differences or wanting to pursue other projects. This was about fear, genuine, traumatizing fear that manifested in her sleep. Whatever happened on that set, it left psychological scars that time hadn't healed. But she didn't stop there. Pare mentioned multiple physical assaults, though she never detailed exactly what those assaults entailed or when they occurred. 9:55. She talked about a powerful publicity machine that had kept her silent, that was spreading false stories about her departure. She made it clear that speaking out could have consequences, but she was doing it anyway. Here's where things get even more complicated. Pare also suggested that she was protecting people, that there were crew members whose jobs might be at risk if she revealed everything she knew. 10/21. This wasn't just about her own experience. This was about a workplace culture, a system of power and silence that extended beyond to actors who couldn't get along. CBS's response, they stuck to their original narrative. They'd addressed her concerns. They'd worked with her. The implication was clear. This was resolved, and anything Pare was saying now was either exaggerated or taken out of context. 10:48. But fans and industry observers weren't buying it. The contrast between CBS's sanitized version and Pare's raw emotional truth was too stark. If everything had been resolved, why was she still so traumatized? If the workplace had been made safe, why did she describe being terrified? And here's the thing that makes this story even more disturbing. 11:15. Pare retired from acting entirely after Broke was canceled. This wasn't someone stepping away at the peak of thigh.